Before we begin today's video, I'd love to know, why are you learning English? Let's build a strong and supportive community together. Here are some reasons you might relate to. A. To travel. B. To have better job opportunities. C. To communicate with people around the world. D. To access more information. E. Any other reason? Please share your reason in the comments below. Today, I'm sharing my real-life journey of learning English while living in Paris. From nervous conversations and job interviews to unforgettable friendships and personal breakthroughs, this story is filled with moments of challenge, discovery, and growth. You'll see how I improved my English every day while juggling school, work, and exciting adventures in one of the world's most beautiful cities. Stick around until the end for a powerful message that might inspire your own English journey. Let's dive in. English in Paris. It was a beautiful spring morning in Paris. The air was fresh, the sky was blue, and the sun was shining gently over the city. Flowers were blooming, and the streets were full of people enjoying the warmth after a long winter. I decided to take a walk along the Seine River, one of the most beautiful places in Paris. As I walked, I felt peaceful and calm, just enjoying the scenery. While walking near the riverbank, I noticed a man sitting alone on a bench. He looked friendly and relaxed, gazing at the water and sometimes smiling. I didn't know him, but something about him made me curious. As I passed by, I heard him speaking on the phone. He was talking in English. Although I couldn't understand everything he said, it was clear that he spoke English very well, fluently and confidently. At that moment, I felt a strong desire inside me. I wanted to speak English like that. I had studied a little English before, but I was still a beginner. My vocabulary was small, and I struggled to form sentences. Still, this seemed like a perfect opportunity. Maybe, just maybe, I could try to speak with him. I felt nervous, but I decided to be brave. I walked up to him and said, "Hello." He looked up and smiled. I continued, slowly and carefully, using the few English words I knew. "I am student. I learn English." He nodded, listening patiently. I was surprised and happy. He understood me. I told him I wanted to speak English and practice more. He was very kind and responded clearly and slowly, making it easy for me to understand. He told me he was from the United States and was visiting Paris for a vacation. We spoke for about 10 minutes. Our conversation was simple but meaningful. I asked him a few questions, and he asked me about my goals. I explained that I wanted to become good at English and maybe even travel to English-speaking countries someday. Before we said goodbye, he gave me his email address and encouraged me to write to him in English. "Practice is important," he said. "Use English as much as you can." That short conversation had a big impact on me. After that day, I made a decision. I was going to improve my English. I started studying every day. I translated simple texts, listened to songs, and watched English language movies and videos. I spent about 2 hours a day on English. It wasn't always easy, but it was rewarding. After 6 months, I could speak much better than before. I was not perfect, but I could have real conversations. That made me very happy. Still, I wanted more. I wanted to study English in a more focused way, so I looked for a language school. I found one in Paris that offered English courses with native-speaking teachers. I signed up and waited excitedly for my first day. The first lesson was on a Monday. I arrived early, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. I met my teacher and the other students in the class. Our teacher was a young man, very friendly and energetic. He smiled warmly and asked each of us to introduce ourselves and say where we were from. The students came from many different countries, which made the class feel international and interesting. After introductions, the teacher started the lesson. He asked us about how we had studied English before and what we thought was the best way to learn a new language. Some students said they liked learning grammar. Others said they listened to music or watched movies. When it was my turn, I said, "I translate songs and stories, but I don't know what is best." Our teacher smiled and told us he would show us a very effective method for learning English. He explained that in his class, we wouldn't study in the traditional way. No textbooks, he said, no memorizing grammar rules. Instead, we will use English for real communication. This idea was new to me. I had always thought that studying meant reading and doing exercises. But the teacher said something that stayed in my mind. You learn a language by using it, not by studying it. He explained that when we were children, we learned our native languages by speaking and listening, not by reading grammar books. The same can work for learning English. He said that in this course, we would spend most of our time speaking. We would talk in pairs, in groups, and with the teacher. We would tell stories, describe our lives, and share ideas. He also said that we would listen a lot. Listening, he explained, is just as important as speaking because it helps us learn the rhythm and patterns of the language. The teacher also warned us about a common mistake. Many students focus too much on grammar and vocabulary lists. They spend hours memorizing rules, but don't actually speak or write in English. You don't need to study grammar to speak well, he said. You need to use English. When you use the language in real situations, you will learn grammar naturally. I liked his approach. It felt modern and practical. During that first lesson, we spoke about our hobbies, daily routines, and free time activities. The teacher encouraged us to speak without fear of mistakes. Mistakes are good, he said. They help you learn. I spoke with other students in pairs, and I also spoke with the teacher. It was the first time in my life that I had spoken so much English in one class. It was exciting. I felt nervous at first, but after a few minutes I relaxed and enjoyed the experience. I understood that learning a language is about being active, taking part in conversations, and thinking in the new language. By the end of the lesson, I felt happy and inspired. I had never learned this way before, but it felt natural and fun. I knew this course was going to help me grow. I couldn't wait for the next lesson. The next day, I returned to school with energy and confidence. I was ready to learn more and speak more. This was only the beginning of my English learning adventure, but I already felt that I had found the right path. During one of our English lessons at school, something interesting happened that really caught my attention. One of the students raised her hand and asked a very good question. She said, "What is the best way to learn new words?" I immediately became curious. This was something I had been wondering about too. Vocabulary is such an important part of learning any language, and I wanted to hear what our teacher had to say. Our teacher smiled and said, "That is an excellent question. There are many ways you can learn new words, but I want to tell you what research shows to be the most effective method." We all listened carefully. He continued, "According to studies, The most effective and statistically proven way to learn new words is through reading. Reading helps language learners pick up vocabulary naturally. People who read while learning a new language tend to learn twice as fast as those who don't. That's a huge difference. We were surprised. Twice as fast? That sounded amazing. The teacher encouraged us to read for at least 30 minutes a day. Reading just half an hour every day can make a big difference in your vocabulary and your overall English skills, he said. But not just any reading. There is a smart way to do it to get the most benefit. He then explained what we should do to get the maximum gain from reading. First, he said, make sure the book or article you choose is interesting to you. It could be a fun story, something connected to your job, or something related to your hobbies. If the text is boring, you will not enjoy reading and you may stop. But if the content is interesting, you'll want to read more. This made a lot of sense. I thought about the books I had tried to read before. Some of them were too difficult or too boring, and I gave up. I realize now that choosing the right material was important. Second, the teacher said, make sure that you understand most of the words in the text. If there are too many unknown words, you'll get frustrated and lose interest. So choose something at your level. You should know at least 90% of the words. That way, you can still enjoy the story or article and learn the new words in context. He then explained what to do when we see a new word while reading. If you find a word you don't know, just look it up in a dictionary. That's all. You don't need to write it down. You don't have to make a vocabulary list. You don't even need to try hard to remember it. Just understand what it means in that sentence and then continue reading. This surprised me. I had always tried to memorize words by writing them in a notebook or making flashcards. But the teacher told us to just focus on understanding the text, not memorizing words. Later, he said, when you see the same word again in another sentence or book, you'll remember it better because you've seen it in different contexts. Your brain will make a connection, and the word will become part of your vocabulary naturally. He explained that another advantage of reading is that you don't just learn individual words, you also learn how words are used together. You see how they connect in sentences, how they form expressions, and how grammar works in real situations. This helps you build a better sense of how English works without having to study grammar rules separately. This method is very powerful, he said. Give it a try, and you will see how quickly your vocabulary grows. After this useful discussion about vocabulary and reading, we continued with the lesson. We started talking about the situation in France, especially about work and what jobs are good for students. This topic was very interesting for me because I was also looking for a job. I wanted to do something useful with my time after class, and earning some money would be helpful too. After the class, I spoke with some of the other students and asked them if they knew where I could find a part-time job. They were very helpful. One student told me, "You should go to the job center. They have many opportunities for students." That sounded like a great idea. So, when school ended that day, I went straight to the job center. I didn't really know what kind of jobs were available for students, so I asked the lady at the desk for some advice. She was very kind and helpful. She told me that there were a few common jobs for students in Paris. One was working as a barista in a coffee shop, and another was being a server in a cafe. I told her that I had never worked in a cafe before. I had no experience as a barista or server. She smiled and said, "That's okay. Your English is already good enough, and we can give you training. These jobs are great for students because you can practice speaking English with customers every day. It's better than working as a cleaner, where you don't speak much. If you want to practice your English, working in a cafe is a good choice." I liked the idea, and I agreed to take the job. She told me I could start on Thursday. I was excited. This would be a new experience, and I would have more chances to use my English in real life. The next day, Wednesday, I went back to school. During the lesson, something else happened that made me think again about how we learn languages. One of the students in our class was quieter than the others. He was a young man from Japan. He didn't speak much during lessons, but he always listened carefully. On that day, the teacher asked if any of us had questions. The student from Japan raised his hand. He said, "I have a problem. My pronunciation is not good. I can understand English well because I read a lot and watch films, but I don't speak much. I don't want people to hear my bad pronunciation. What can I do to improve it?" I felt sympathy for him. Speaking is hard when you're not confident. I had the same problem when I started. The teacher looked at him kindly and said, "That's a good question, and it's a very common problem for English learners. Many students understand English but don't speak because they are afraid of making mistakes or sounding strange." Then she added, "Let me tell you something about pronunciation and how to practice it." At that moment, we all leaned forward. I was curious again. I wanted to know the teacher's advice, not just for the Japanese student, but for myself too. During one of our English classes, our teacher told us that she was going to teach us a technique that could help everyone improve their pronunciation. This made me very interested because pronunciation is something I've always struggled with, and I wasn't the only one. Many students in our class wanted to speak English more clearly and sound more natural. Our teacher began by explaining why pronunciation can be difficult for language learners. "The first thing we have to understand," she said, "is how we actually speak. When we speak, we move the muscles in our mouth. Our lips, tongue, and jaw all work together to produce the sounds of the language we are speaking." She told us that every language uses these muscles in different ways. For example, in my native language, I use my mouth differently than I need to when speaking English. That's the reason why many students have a strong accent or incorrect pronunciation, she explained. Your mouth is doing what it always does in your native language, but the sounds in English are different, so you need to train your mouth to move in new ways. This made perfect sense to me. I had never really thought about pronunciation as something physical, something related to muscles, like exercising or training. But it was true. Speaking a new language means using your mouth in new ways. The teacher smiled and reassured us. Don't worry too much about having a perfect accent. Most of the time, people will still understand you, even if your pronunciation isn't perfect. But if you want to improve it, there's a technique that can help you a lot. Then she told us the name of the method: shadowing. Shadowing is a very simple but powerful technique, she said. It's used by language learners around the world, and even professional interpreters use it to train their speaking skills. we all became very curious. "So, what is shadowing?" she asked, and then answered her own question. Shadowing means listening to a person speak and then immediately repeating what they say. You try to copy the sound exactly as you hear it. You follow their voice like a shadow, very closely. She explained that this is how babies and small children learn to speak their first language. They hear their parents or other people talking, and they repeat the sounds again and again. Over time, their pronunciation improves naturally. She said we could do the same thing with English. To practice shadowing, she told us, you need an audio or video clip where someone speaks English clearly and not too fast. Choose something you understand well, because if you can't understand the words, it will be hard to copy them. Then, our teacher opened her laptop and went to a video sharing website. She typed in "Shadowing Technique English Learning" and found a great video that demonstrated how to do it. She played the video for the class. In the video, a teacher explained how to do shadowing and gave examples with short sentences. The speaker said a sentence, and then the learner repeated it immediately, matching the pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. After watching the video, we all tried shadowing together. We listened to a short audio clip and repeated each sentence out loud right after hearing it. At first, it felt strange. We were trying to speak quickly, and it was difficult to say the words just after hearing them. But soon, it became easier. We started to enjoy it. We practiced for about 3 minutes. Then the teacher paused the audio and said, "That's all you need to do at home. Just a few minutes a day is enough to make real progress over time. Shadowing is also useful when you prepare for a presentation or speech. It helps you feel more comfortable speaking and improves your confidence." I thought this was excellent advice. I made a decision. From now on, I would practice shadowing every day at home using my favorite English videos. After class, I thanked my teacher and went home. The next day, Thursday, was a very exciting day for me. It was my first day at my new job in a cafe. I was both excited and a little nervous. When I arrived at the cafe, I met my boss, Mr. Martin. He was very friendly and welcomed me warmly. He explained what my job would be. I would work as a server, taking orders from customers and bringing them their food and drinks. This job was a great opportunity for me to speak English with many different people every day. At the beginning, it was a bit difficult. Some customers spoke very fast, and I didn't understand everything they said. I had to ask them to speak more slowly, and luckily, most of them were kind and patient. They repeated their orders or used simple words so I could understand. I felt nervous, but I kept trying. As the day went on, I became more comfortable. I started to understand more and more, and I even had short conversations with some customers. They asked where I was from, how long I had been in Paris, and how I learned English. I enjoyed talking with them. By the end of the day, I felt very tired but also very happy. I knew that working in the cafe would help me improve my English a lot. The next day, Friday, I went to school again. In class, we had a fun lesson. We talked about our favorite movies and books. Everyone shared their opinions and asked questions. It was a relaxed and friendly atmosphere. I felt confident speaking English because I had practiced so much at my job the day before. After class, I asked some of my classmates if they wanted to go for a coffee. A few of them said yes, and we went to a small cafe near the school. We sat around a table drank coffee, and talked about life in Paris. It was interesting to hear everyone's stories. We all came from different countries, but we had something in common. We were learning English and trying to live in a new place. We shared tips and talked about the best ways to learn. I found out that two of my classmates, Anna and Roberto, also worked in cafes. We laughed about our funny customer experiences and talked about the challenges of working in a foreign language. It felt really nice to have friends who understood my situation. We decided to meet every Friday after class. We would practice English together, help each other, and have fun. It was a great way to learn and to feel more connected. That week was very important for me. I learned a new technique to improve my pronunciation. I started a new job, and I made new friends. I felt like my English was getting better every day, and most importantly, I was enjoying the process. I am truly happy to have made new friends, and I look forward to our meetings every week. The following weeks become very busy for me. I go to school every morning and work in the cafe during the afternoons. On Fridays, I still meet my friends after class to practice English and relax together. I can feel that my English is improving with each passing day. I understand more when people talk to me, and I'm getting better at expressing my own thoughts in English. One day, our teacher gives us a special assignment. She asks each of us to prepare a short presentation about our hometowns. I decide to talk about Paris, the city I've come to love deeply. Although it is not my original hometown, it feels like home now. I spend a lot of time preparing my presentation. I write out what I want to say and practice it many times. I also use the shadowing technique that we learned in class to improve my pronunciation and sound more natural. When the day of the presentation comes, I feel a bit nervous, but also very excited. I talk about the beautiful landmarks in Paris, like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum. I also mention the small cafes and bakeries that I enjoy visiting, and how much I love walking through the streets of Montmartre. My classmates listen with interest, and after I finish, they ask me several questions. I manage to answer all of them in English, and I feel proud of myself. Our teacher praises my performance and tells me that my English has improved a lot. Hearing that makes me very happy and gives me even more motivation to continue learning. As the months go by, I continue to study hard, work, and spend time with friends. My English keeps improving. I feel more and more confident when I speak. I often think back to the day when I first spoke to the man by the Seine River. That small moment changed my life. It was the beginning of my English journey, and now I can speak the language with confidence. I've also made many new friends from different countries. I am truly grateful for all the opportunities I've had and for the kind people who have helped me along the way. One evening while browsing the internet, I come across a local language exchange group. They meet every Friday evening at a cafe near my home to practice different languages. I think this could be another great way to practice English with native speakers and other learners. I decide to attend the next meeting. When I arrive, the cafe is filled with people chatting in many different languages. I introduce myself to the group leader, a friendly man named David. He welcomes me warmly and explains how the group works. We pair up with different partners throughout the evening to practice speaking. My first partner is a woman named Lisa. She is from the United States and is currently learning French. We decide to speak in English for the first half of our conversation and then switch to French. At first, I am a little nervous, but Lisa is very patient and supportive. We talk about our hobbies, favorite places in Paris, and our experiences learning new languages. As the evening continues, I meet more people and have short conversations with each of them. Every time I speak, I feel more comfortable. I realize that speaking with native speakers helps me not only improve my pronunciation, but also learn new expressions and idioms. By the end of the evening, I feel proud of myself. I've had many conversations, and I've managed to express myself clearly. I decide to continue attending the language exchange group every Friday evening. It's a fun and effective way to practice English in a relaxed setting. During the weekends, I often explore Paris with my friends. One weekend, we visit Montmartre, a beautiful and historic district known for its artistic atmosphere. We climb the steep streets and enjoy the amazing view from the top of the hill. We visit the Sacré-Cœur Basilica and admire its beauty. The streets of Montmartre are full of artists painting and selling their work. We spend hours wandering through the charming alleys, enjoying the lively vibe and taking in the sights. Another weekend, we take a trip to the Palace of Versailles. The palace is incredibly beautiful, with grand rooms and enormous gardens. We join a guided tour in English, which helps us learn more about the history of the place. Walking through the Hall of Mirrors and the Royal Gardens feels like stepping back in time. Later, we explore the Latin Quarter, a lively area full of students, cafes, and bookstores. We visit the Pantheon and the lovely Luxembourg Gardens. It's a perfect spot to relax and practice English while surrounded by the rich culture and history of Paris. As my English improves, I start thinking about finding a better job. Working at the cafe has helped me a lot, but now I want to do something that allows me to use English more often and in more professional situations. I update my CV and begin applying for jobs where both English and French are needed. After a few weeks, I receive an invitation for an interview at a small international company. They are looking for a customer service representative who can speak both English and French. I prepare carefully for the interview. I practice answering common interview questions with my friends from class and try to feel ready for anything they might ask. On the day of the interview, I'm nervous but well prepared. I meet with the hiring manager, Sophie. She conducts the interview in both languages, and I'm able to answer all her questions confidently. A few days later, she calls to offer me the job. I'm thrilled and accept immediately. This is a big step forward for me, and I'm excited for this new chapter. My first day at the company is exciting. The office is in a modern building in the business district of Paris. Sophie greets me and introduces me to my new colleagues. Everyone is friendly and welcoming. She gives me a tour of the office and explains my responsibilities. My job is to answer customer questions, help with orders, and provide support in English and French. I'm part of a small international team. I meet John from the UK, Maria from Spain, and Ahmed from Egypt. We all speak English at work, and I feel proud to be part of such a diverse group. In addition to my new job, I join an English book club. The club meets once a month at a cozy cafe to discuss a book chosen by the members. It's open to both native speakers and learners like me. At the first meeting, I meet about 10 people who are kind and welcoming. We sit in a circle and begin discussing a novel by Jane Austen. I've read the book in advance and made some notes. At first I feel shy, but the others encourage me to speak. I start to share my ideas, and the conversation becomes very engaging. It's a wonderful way to improve my English and also hear different opinions and interpretations. Paris is a city full of culture and learning opportunities. I take advantage of every chance I get to immerse myself in English-speaking environments. Whether I'm working, studying, joining events, or just talking to friends, I keep practicing. Each day brings a new opportunity to grow, and I'm excited for the future. I enjoy attending English language theater performances, film screenings, and lectures in Paris. These events are not only entertaining, but they also help me improve my listening and comprehension skills. They allow me to hear natural spoken English in different accents, tones, and contexts. Each event feels like a mini lesson combined with an enjoyable experience. One evening, I attend a lecture at the American Library in Paris. The speaker is a well-known author who writes in English. The lecture hall is full, and there's a quiet excitement in the air. The author shares her journey as a writer, talks about her inspirations, and gives insights into the writing process. Her passion and authenticity are inspiring. Listening to her speak is fascinating, not only because of the topic, but also because I understand almost everything she says. This makes me realize how much my listening skills have improved. At the end of the lecture, there is a question and answer session. People begin to raise their hands and ask questions. I hesitate at first, unsure of what to say or how to phrase my question. But then, I gather my courage and raise my hand. When the moderator picks me, I stand up and ask the author a question about her characters and how she develops them. She smiles, thanks me for the question, and gives a thoughtful answer. It feels amazing to be part of the conversation, to speak English in a real-life setting and to be understood. This small moment boosts my confidence in a big way. As I continue my journey of learning English, I build friendships with people from all over the world. My English class, the language exchange group, and my job have introduced me to a variety of people from different countries and cultures. We share stories, learn from one another, and support each other in our learning. These international connections make my life in Paris more vibrant and meaningful. One of my closest friends is Anna from Poland. We often study together, help each other with grammar or pronunciation, and encourage each other when we feel discouraged. We explore Paris together, visiting museums, attending language exchange events, and sometimes traveling to nearby cities on weekends. Our friendship has become an important part of my life. It enriches my time in Paris and reminds me that learning is more meaningful when shared. After attending several language exchange events hosted by David, I start thinking about organizing my own. I talk to David, and he is very supportive. He helps me choose a date and a suitable venue, and then I begin planning the event. I invite people from my English class, some of my colleagues from work, and friends I've made around the city. On the day of the event, I feel both excited and a little nervous. I've put a lot of effort into organizing everything. As the evening begins, the cafe starts filling up with people. There's a joyful buzz in the air. People are speaking different languages, smiling, and making new connections. I start the evening with some icebreaker activities to help everyone feel more comfortable. Then we break into pairs and small groups to practice speaking. The event goes better than I imagined. Everyone has a good time, and many people thank me for organizing it. I feel proud of myself for taking the initiative and creating a space for others to connect and practice languages. My journey of learning English doesn't stop there. I always try to find new ways to challenge myself and grow. I enroll in an advanced English class to strengthen my skills even further. I attend writing workshops, join discussion groups, and make it a habit to practice speaking every day. I set new goals for myself. I want to give a full presentation in English, write a short story, and maybe even submit something to a writing contest. One day, our teacher gives us a creative writing assignment. We are asked to write a short story in English. I decide to write about my experiences in Paris and my journey of learning English. Writing the story is both challenging and rewarding. It forces me to think carefully about grammar, vocabulary, and structure, but it also gives me a chance to reflect on how far I've come. When I finish the story, I feel proud of what I've written. It's a personal achievement and a symbol of my progress. At my new job, I am given the opportunity to give a presentation in English about our customer service strategies. This is a big step for me, and at first, I feel nervous about speaking in front of colleagues. But I also see it as a chance to grow. I spend several days preparing. I write my speech, design the slides, and practice speaking in front of a mirror. I also ask friends from my English class to listen to a rehearsal and give feedback. When the day of the presentation arrives, I am a bit anxious, but mostly prepared. I stand in front of my team, take a deep breath, and begin. I speak slowly, clearly, and with confidence. As I go through the slides, I focus on connecting with my audience. When I finish, my colleagues applaud, and Sophie, my manager, tells me I did an excellent job. That moment stays with me. It shows me that I am capable of using English in a professional setting. Looking back on my time in Paris, I feel a deep sense of accomplishment. I've worked hard, faced challenges, and made real progress. I've met amazing people, formed lasting friendships, and collected memories I'll never forget. Learning English has truly changed my life. It has opened doors to new opportunities, enriched my cultural experience, and allowed me to connect with people from around the world. But my journey is far from over. I want to continue improving. I want to become truly fluent in English, to travel to English-speaking countries, and maybe even start learning a third language. I also want to keep exploring all that Paris has to offer, its culture, history, and energy. To achieve these goals, I create a plan. I will keep taking advanced English classes, attend language exchange events, and speak English daily. I will read more books in English, watch English films, and listen to podcasts during my commutes. Each small action brings me closer to fluency. One of my biggest dreams is to visit an English-speaking country. After months of saving, I finally book a trip to England. I plan to spend a week in London, exploring the city and practicing my English in real-world situations. When I arrive, I'm immediately struck by the energy of the city. London is vibrant, diverse, and full of history. I visit famous landmarks like the Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, and the British Museum. I enjoy the food, the architecture, and the English conversations that surround me. Speaking with locals, ordering in restaurants, asking for directions, every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice. I even attend a theater performance in the West End and understand almost all of it. The trip not only boosts my confidence, but also reminds me why I started this journey in the first place. Learning English has opened up the world to me. It has connected me to new people, new cultures, and new opportunities. I look forward to continuing this journey, setting new goals, and embracing whatever comes next.